I am to report only this. We know the date. We know the time. It's the 19th. It's around 1:30, close to 2. Okay, okay. I am to report only this, and then I have to bid all of you adieu. Who's in the public? Let me plug my ears. And I have to bid all of the good guys and gals in the Navy SEALs, Mossad, Chinese military, and the good GRU, good old GRU. The GRU are a solid group. They are not good evil. You know how there's good and evil militaries that I try to write because I have like no words and I plug my ears and I'm just done until I get some R and R and I can get my vocabulary back and my brain can just calm down from just smelling chopped up bodies and chemicals, hearing the most scariest shit. And like I wasn't very clear, but there's so much I cannot talk about in here. That, I mean, dude, it's so obvious. This is a terrorist cell with fucking militia and stuff and things. Come on, dude. And that's when it became so obvious. I had to go offline, man, and hardly say a word about anything. All I'm allowed to report is like the dead bodies I constantly smell. They engulf everywhere. I'm trying to be clear on where I'm detecting it. And the chemical stenches that persist, they're just pervasive. They're not legal. They're highly illegal. Okay, so that's not what I'm reporting right now. What I am to report is kind of off the path here, but I'm going to do it. Up to this date in time, even today when I went down to the basement, and that man I had then witnessed about 5 minutes later was in his truck, sitting outside of the house, just stalking and casing the property. The man that had tiptoed out, the man I reported was here to do a service job. All right. So once again, there was someone in the basement, and I heard a real fast, like 2-second calamity, stuff falling, crashing. And that's why I said, hello, anyone down there? I knew to go down there. I came down the stairs with that intent, to stand at the basement and say hello, to clarify without any question that this man was not in the house. I saw the gate closed, but I'm clearing this up, right? And so I wasn't totally sure because I heard a human down there drop in a bucket or something, and then it was silent, and I stood there for like close to a minute and nobody there. And then I went and opened the gate and saw this fool in his car. So I'm like, okay, well, we're still doing that here. So there's clearly entrances they're utilizing, and they're still active. Do not ask me, Heidi Granger, where those are. I would suggest asking those whirlybird military guys and gals. That is their job. My job is to stay safe in here. Okay, so that's why I'm going off the internet once I put this up. Okay, so that happened again today. To this date, there's constantly incidences. Unforgettable, many of them. Most of them, unforgettable. I have to be correct, like if I'm talking to a judge, a respected, honorable, trustworthy judge. Most of them. There's only like a handful that are just these weird buckets dropping, and I can't make comments, but it's not anything but human activity. It's not by any mistake anything other than a humanoid, a person, all right? Homo sapien down there, all right, we're clear. I'm certain of that. So today was just these weird buckets and some sort of fast calamity. I got to plug my ears, there's sirens. But it's constant, and most of the time, the great amount of time, it's unforgettable incidences that I'm witnessing down there, and I'm not allowed whatsoever to talk about it on YouTube. So it's very, very active. Without any question, that basement rocks and rolls 24 hours a day. All right. And to report that those litter boxes are still there, that I have put on video a number of times. The feces filled litter boxes, both of them, the two that are there, that you can recap some of the video evidence and you'll see them and you'll see them and you'll see them again. They're like stationed permanently in this apartment or this unit downstairs. So those litter boxes are very, very mentionable now, and I'm to mention them. Both of theirs just disgusting in here. I feel very, very, very upset I'm in here. But I keep my area clean and I keep away from the crashing and violence that I witness around the clock in here. And then I'm always smelling the dead bodies, and we know. So, okay, I'm supposed to report that. I'm also supposed to report that on the 1507 end of the basement. I'll go down there. For example, one time I made a really loud noise. I can't say what happened before I did that. I'm not allowed, so bear with me. This is all I'm allowed to say. But within a handful of minutes after activity had occurred inside of 1509, I went into the dining room and I made a loud noise with the door. Boom. Loud sound, like I just reported this terrorist that was stalking the building, sitting in his business car labeled Servpro. Okay. All the terrorists do that, so I did it. And within 1 minute, they started knocking, and I've made it very clear, the methodical knock, 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 knock. I've done this, I'm not repeating this. It went on, the knocking, on the side of the wall in the basement. I'm standing right over them at that point. This is the stuff that's unforgettable, and I want to talk about this in more detail, but I'm going to bypass that. They're literally knocking underneath my feet from 1507. And then they did something with the floor. I heard the floor, it's not something. It was activity, and it was loud objects, and that's all I'm going to say. Now I'm witnessing this. Yes, I could detail and explain better, but we're going to bypass that. These are the things that you don't forget. So that terrorist that was, or a group of them, because there was one knocking and one doing stuff with stuff and things under the floor, all at the same time. It was way more than one person. No, sir. At least two. And they were knocking. I'm not going to describe this. It was on the wall in the basement, but then the knocking, knock, 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 I'm not going to describe this. We will do this in detail another time. It went from about midsection in the basement wall, and then they were right up underneath my feet. But on the wall of floor one, still it was really, really unforgettable. And there's way more detail to this, and this incident went for a good 2 minutes. And then all this action started underneath my feet with the floors, and I could describe more, but we're going to bypass. Okay, I think I've made a pretty clear picture of what goes on in here. So that area is really, really active. That wall, that floor and dining room area, and there's individual people, humanoids, that are definitely down there regularly in the basement when there's nobody else in here, okay? All right, bye. Gotta go.